why did I sign up to do this? Chat, we have Alex and Molly from Star Wars Explained. If you're not familiar, then you're obviously not a fan and leave.
So aggressive, Kevin.
That's a very fancy intro. I like that transition.
It's different every time. There's just no rhyme or reason to what we do here. We just a bunch of nerds drinking and talking about Star Wars. Anyway, welcome guys to the show. We're going to spend the next hour or so chatting with you guys about what you do, your adventures with Twitch, the Mandalorian trailer, and all things Star Wars. If you're on Twitch and you want to ask some questions tonight, you can use the questions command. If you're on Facebook, you can use the pinned comment and click the Slido link and ask any questions for anyone. Of course, I'll be reading them first, so if you're an idiot, your question won't be read.
Sorry, idiots in chat.
Hey, we get like one or two of those every Sunday.
Yeah, we do.
We gotta be careful. And if you're listening in the future, obviously you should be here live so you can get your questions answered by whoever we have on the show this week. But welcome again, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us and get nerdy with us. I guess my first question, and we'll start with Molly, is what was your introduction to the world of Star Wars? What is your earliest memory? I love asking guests this. We always get different answers, but I'm always curious, like, what brought you into all of this?
I know my dad bought me probably didn't buy it for me specifically, but they got the gold box set of the VHS tapes for Star Wars, and I was like, oh man, what is that? And we sat down and watched them all, and that was my first introduction to Star Wars. But other than that, like, I didn't really become super involved in like thinking of Star Wars every single day, obviously, until we started the channel. But like, I remember growing up, like, a very specific memory I have is of this kid that I knew in middle school. He's kind of a dork, but he was getting like bullied and made fun of for having a Star Wars shirt on and liking Star Wars. And I just remember being like, get the fuck out of here. Like, stop bullying him for liking something cool. And the guy just like didn't know what to do.
Which is funny because now if you see someone wearing a Star Wars shirt, oh man, where'd you get that one?
Right.
It's totally different than it was when we were all growing up. Alex, what is your introduction to all of this?
I was 8, I think. That'd be 1995. I live in Atlanta. We live in Atlanta. And the Olympics were here in 96. So they were like building stuff up for it. And we went down to Olympic Park. I don't know why, but someone was walking around dressed as Darth Vader. It felt like, it was very weird now that I think back on it.
Did that during the Olympics.
I think it was kind of like a Las Vegas, Hollywood kind of like, I'll just dress up and walk around and people will take pictures with me. Or it was Dragon Con. That's another option. It could have been a convention nearby. But anyway, I saw Darth Vader and I was like, who is that? And my dad just started telling me all about who Darth Vader was. And I was like, I've got to see these movies. So we went home and they had it like taped off of TBS. And we watched the first Star Wars movie, and that was that. I just like watched that tape for the rest of that summer until it broke. And then they were like, all right, I guess we'll get you the rest of the VHSs. And
Do you remember?
You didn't know that there were other movies.
No, like they kind of let me wear myself out just on that for a while. They were like, let's see how long we can let this ride. Yeah. And then they were like, and here's the second one. It was like, what?
You said you recorded it from TBS. Do you remember the commercials?
Vaguely. Like, they're mostly local ones, like Wolfman and Donna. Molly, do you remember those?
Oh yeah, the used like furniture place.
That's I remember a bunch of local
that
commercials.
Many times that you remember the commercials. That's fantastic.
I had that with Rocky IV. I recorded it off WPIX 11 in New York, and I remember the Arby's commercial that was on there, the Mount Airy Lodge, which Northeasterners will remember what I'm saying.
What's crazy though is that kids now would never even think about recording shows that popped up. Like, I mean, they'd use like the DVR, but having like put a VHS into the VCR and then hitting record.
No, like I'm watching
things.
I'm watching Clone Wars with my son. He has not seen one commercial we're in
wild.
season 4. He has not seen one
wild.
commercial. It's not fair.
It's just bizarre to think about like stuff not being readily available. Or
Yeah.
we listened to a podcast about the X-Files and just talking about how nuts people went for this show in the early days of the internet, and it was like you watched it once live and then you were done. That was it. Like you hopefully taped it. It's such a different thing now where it's like, it'll be on Netflix in a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Heck,
very-
even books. I listen to audio tapes now, like on my phone from Audible. And it's like I don't go and buy books from the bookstore. I just listen to them now when I'm working out or driving. Life is so much easier now.
Yeah.
Kids won't
Although-
appreciate how it was for us back in the day.
I know, kids are so spoiled.
Man, I've been saying this for years. It's nice to have other people saying it with me now. I'm old. Awesome. So when did you guys start the channel? What was the journey like of building it up? And you guys have been on stage at Celebration, and you've been a huge part of the Star Wars community. When Tim said, hey, I could ask Star Wars Explained to me on the podcast, I was like, well, what are you waiting for, Tim? Like, we started a Star Wars podcast. Let's move with this. What was the journey of getting to the point where you are now, where you're such I would call it an integral part of the community? Like your analysis of the Mandalorian trailer was in the top 3 that I watched right after it came out.
So I already mentioned Dragon Con, and we started going to that in 2009, I think. And they have an annual, like, just hard as shit trivia contest. And I would always go and compete, and I would do okay in it. I'd be able to get into the top 10, top 5. I'd never won. And every year I was like, man, if I just studied a little bit, I could probably win this thing. And after a few years of saying that, I finally was like, you know what, I am going to study. And they just announced they're going to do these new movies. So it was in 2015 that I finally was like, all right, I'm going to study. And I figured making videos will kind of be a good way to get this stuff into my head. I also come from a video marketing background. And at the time, Star Wars YouTube was very, very long. Like every Star Wars YouTube video on a topic was like 30 minutes. And I was like, I can't watch this. I like, they were good, but I can't just binge all these things. So my initial idea was to do very shallow dives on like characters, and just like in a minute, 2 minutes, you know the basics about this character, who they are. So I started doing that, and it was mostly as a way to study for a trivia competition. It still took me 7 years to win it. But
you did.
Yeah, I finally won it last year.
That's
and then I
awesome.
lost it again this year.
Oh no.
You've won it more times than we have, so be proud of that. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll start with Molly. Molly, what's your favorite piece of content? It could be a book, it could be a television show, it could be an episode, it could be a movie, whatever, of Star Wars. Like, what's the go-to of like, this is my favorite thing. I can't live without this in the universe.
I'll probably say The Force Awakens, because that was the movie that really, like, we had just gotten the channel kind of taken off, and that was the movie that really got me back into Star Wars. And same for probably a lot of other people. And people say, oh, it's just like a rehash of A New Hope, blah, 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 which is fair. But I love all the sequel trilogy characters. That movie is just so much fun. I love it.
Was that around the time that you did your Dark Ray cosplay?
Yeah, like sometime afterwards. I can't remember the first year that I did it, but I did
The only
it
reason I
before.
remember that is because when the trailer came out and Dark Ray was a thing, like you were freaking out. You were like, I called it all the
I was
time.
like-
Me." It was good.
I'll be waiting for my check in the mail. You're welcome.
What about you, Alex?
I mean, I think I still have to go A New Hope, because that is the one that really sucked me in and made me fall in love with everything. That is my gold standard for Star Wars. But if we want to go with something like a little different, a little off the beaten path, more recently, like since the Disney acquisition, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is my favorite thing that they've done.
So good.
I fell in love with that story. It was just like, I kind of didn't know what to expect from it. And it just blew me away. I was thinking it was going to be like, oh, it'll be fun and you'll hack and slash and yay. But like the story was really good. The characters were really good. I spent the second half of that game just like with my mouth open, like, oh my God, I can't believe we're going to Ilum. And like, I can't believe we did this Order 66 thing. And like,
that was me and
just,
Tim.
Oh man, it was so good.
The ending is just probably still my favorite, with just the force bubble around the water that was chef kiss. That was so good.
My jaw dropped when I heard Vader breathing, like just dry. I was like, oh no!
They do such a good job of teasing that, where you're like, we're going to this Inquisitor fortress, and it's on this planet called Nur, but there's also this red planet really close by, and you're like, is that what I think it is? And so then when he shows up, you're like, yep.
The one thing I love about that game too was I love the different perspectives of Order 66, and I thought Callus was such a good addition to that whole story. Question for you. So we have the end of Rise of Skywalker when, Rey basically has all the Jedis that we're with you, blah, blah. What is your idea, theory? Cal might be dead. Cal might be still alive. Why wouldn't Cal be there? Was it just because he wasn't revealed until later in the process? What's your thought process on that? Tim and I don't really have a basis for this. We just kind of play ping pong with ideas on it.
I have an idea.
Go, Molly.
You go first then, because I
don't think J.J. Abrams knew who Cal Kestis was.
Ooh. Sure.
But I also don't think
Agreed.
I don't think he knew who Kanan Jarrus was.
No.
I think he probably just went to the story group and they were like, and then a bunch of Jedi say some stuff, and they were like, okay, we'll get on the phone and get some people.
Did feel a little dialed in, like you just said. So yeah.
Like,
he tried to get them to change Dio's name after the Battlefront game, like way after it came out, because he wanted to name the other little droid. What's his name? Dio.
Which one? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
What's the other? I'm blanking on Alex, the little droid that he voices in The Rise of Skywalker.
Dio.
Yeah. Oh wait. What's the name of the one from Battlefront?
Oh, from Battlefront or from Jedi Fallen Order?
From Battlefront.
That one was like,
oh, the slicer droid, the one that she had on her back.
Yeah, 1d10. Something like that.
Something like Chad will know. They always know.
I got really excited. I thought she was talking about BD1, then I was going to go
That's
get
what
it.
I thought. Yeah, that's where I thought. I was like,
very
okay,
excited.
let's talk about this.
This guy?
Let's talk about this. Awesome. Next question, and we dive away from Star Wars a little bit, talk about you two diving into Twitch and content creation that's not Star Wars, which is funny because when we started, when we were talking before the show, they were like, yeah, it's our escape from creating Star Wars content. And Tim and I were like, that's funny because this is our escape from playing video games all the time. How has Twitch been? Molly, you were telling us about Fall Guys and how you're really good at video games, like the best.
Yeah. Pretty much the best.
Yeah, she was.
Okay, Ninja, watch out.
I every time I play Fall Guys, I put in the title description, crown attempt number 10, 20, 30. I don't know how many times I've played the game, but I have still yet to get my own crown, except for the pity crown that they give you at the beginning. So, yeah, I'm on that journey.
It's such a satisfying feeling when you get it, though. It took me like a week. It was rough.
I'm getting better at it, but I get so worked up when I do play games, and I am known to yell really loud and blow people's eardrums out.
But that's the joys of it. That's your content. That's fun.
Yeah. People seem to enjoy it.
Do you find that people come in even when you're like, okay, like I stopped by your stream earlier, Alex, you're playing Super Mario. Do you find people coming in and being like, hey, I know you're doing this, but I really wanted to ask you about your last video that you made, and like completely throwing you off topic?
I mean, I just expect it.
You're okay with it?
It's what I'm known for. It's not like I'm going to be like, we don't talk about Star Wars here. It's more just an excuse for me to play a non-Star Wars game because I don't know. I feel weird streaming Mario on my Star Wars channel. So
Sure.
No, of course, that makes complete sense. Tuesdays are always rough because whatever Tim and I fought about, they come into chat on Tuesday and they're like, I think think you were, and I could be doing something completely different. We could be having a serious conversation about something. Like today, I was doing a watch party for the new episode of The Boys, and somebody came in and they were like, I wanted a few points on your Mandalorian trailer observations. And I'm like, I'm literally watching something with chat right now. But this is Tim's been streaming a little bit longer than I have, but this is 6 years of frustration with content creation on Twitch. So you're in a little different path than we are. It's still exciting.
He's not the old grumpy old guy, Kevin.
Very grumpy. Have you guys been to Galaxy's Edge yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Florida or
I
LA?
haven't.
It was
LA.
LA. Yeah.
LA. Okay, I've been to the Orlando one. What did you think? What was your thoughts, feelings when you were there?
So much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fun to walk around and be with friends, and it was at EA Play. That was it last year.
Yeah,
And,
they took everyone last year.
Yeah, they took us to Disneyland, and we kind of like forced our way in. We were like, well, I will say more begged. We begged our way in.
Yeah.
Actually, that was some people. It was Azatru, another game changer. Azatru like had the foresight to make a reservation for that day, and he got the two of us in.
That
And
was
then-
back when everything was reservation only.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe it still is. I don't know.
I don't think it is anymore.
No, it isn't. I went in January, and you can just walk in.
Well, like the second he heard the dates for EA Play, he just made reservations, and then like he lucked out, and he was like, "All right, I have one, and I can get 4 more people in." And we were like, "Yes, please."
We were like, "Hey, buddy.
Hello,
Hey."
new best
So
friend.
like, a bunch of the Star Wars game changers had to split off, but then they all made it in anyway. So it was, that was so much fun to just be there with a bunch of other Star Wars fans. We went and built lightsabers together and flew the Falcon together. So much fun.
Yeah, the Falcon ride was great. I took my son; he was 5 at the time on it, and it was a little much for him. He kept looking back at me like, "Is this thing gonna crash?" Like, because it moves so much, and he has no idea that it's not real.
Yeah.
Especially with the way I talk to him, like, "Oh, this is Chewie, look out!" So I went at night, and I remember the way it is in Florida. I don't know about LA, but the transition from the rest of the park into Batu is so organic with the way they take you through a tunnel, and then the foliage changes, and then you hear the ships and the comms going off, and you're just, oh my god. And I was just freaking out, and I forced everyone to go back the next day. I was like, I need to see what it looks like during the day. So we went back, and I built a lightsaber with my son, which was, it would have been awesome to do my own, but to experience that with him was just, we got it on our like, what was it, episode 2, Tim, of the vlog?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got it on our vlog, and I got to just experience, especially, I don't want to give it away for everyone, but the end when so-and-so does the thing, he was looking at the ceiling like, what, Dad, do you hear that? And then I had to stop him from swatting strangers next to us with it because he was so excited that he just got his lightsaber. Which it's great because now it's a disciplinary tool. It's like, I will take your lightsaber away if you do not eat all of your dinner.
That's probably what they did with Padawans too.
Easily, yeah.
Don't make me get Master Anakin in here.
Oh, Tim, that's dark.
Did you get like all the different lightsaber crystal colors and all that?
So I didn't learn about the different colors that you can get in like the shop afterwards. Everyone's like, "Did you get a black crystal or a red crystal?" There's a like, what is it, 1 in 1,000 chance or something it can turn into the dark saber. I was like, what? No one told. Yeah, you can get yellow too. What? No one told me this. Plus, the line for Doc Ondars was like,
Oh yeah.
around the block, and my family was not going to let me sit there and wait on that line. So I just kind of poked my head in, looked around, and left. But wow,
A lot of the stuff that you can get in that store is now online. So I need to figure out like what I don't have that I really want and see if I can just buy it off the
I would
webs.
get the legacy lightsaber 100%. Like there's no reason to not do that. But
I sent you the link. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they're doing a vote on what the next lightsaber you can buy is going to be, and I want the Cal Kestis one only because I didn't get that one from Microsoft, and I want it so badly, so I voted for that one.
Alex, that's a nice lightsaber you have there. I happen to have something very similar right here.
I didn't get
That's weird, Tim. I don't know why you didn't get one, Tim.
So I voted for that one. There's actually there's a good list of them too. You can get Qui-Gon's, Anakin's, What's the one from Vader Immortal?
Lord Corvax, yeah.
Lord Corvax.
Yeah, that one looks
that
dope.
one's it's very elegant, and I saw a picture. I was like, I held that in my hand.
Yeah. It's so different.
It's
Like,
it's
I
very
love that.
it's almost like medieval looking because like the kyber crystals kind of just suspended within the hilt, and it just looks so cool. So it's a very elegant lightsaber.
It's Anakin, Qui-Gon, Ezra, Kanan, Cal, and Lord Corvax.
But it's not the Ezra lightsaber from Rebels where it also had the gun configuration in it. It looked more like a traditional lightsaber, which I was kind of bummed about. I was like, if it looked like a blaster on the hilt, I would totally get it.
And shoot like little Nerf balls out of it.
Yeah, something.
It doesn't
I feel
look
like
as scrappy.
Qui-Gon's lightsaber to me looks like a toy.
It looks very basic. Yeah, it doesn't look interesting at all.
I mean, he's kind of just a no-nonsense guy. He
That's
wouldn't
true.
have a lot of flash on his hilt. He's
That's
just like
true.
a cylinder button. Got
Yeah,
it.
but that's no fun to put on my wall.
Uh-huh.
Kanan's is cool. I like it with the little circular hilt piece.
Yeah.
But Cal's is probably the best there.
It's just the back end's blown off. It just looks so good.
Yeah.
This looks really neat. But speaking of being EA game changers, we talked a little bit before we started about Squadrons. So
Hell
are
yeah.
you like you're excited for that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like
I feel
for
like-
me, like I'm excited for the storytelling. Like I probably will not invest a lot of time in the multiplayer. But like, are you excited more for story, or are you excited just more for just being in a cockpit and just living out that fantasy?
I mean, we need story content for our
Sure.
channel to keep going. So, like, I'm always, if a video game's coming out, I'm like, is it going to have a story? Great. But having touched the multiplayer and being a big old fan of just pilots in Star Wars, I feel very fortunate. Like, the past 2 video games released for Star Wars have been, like, tailor-made for me. It's just getting... I don't know. It's just like they're watching what I'm saying and doing it. I don't think that's what they're doing, but I appreciate it. So yeah, the multiplayer is so much fun. It feels, I don't know. It feels unlike any other Star Wars flight sim that I have done, but in a really, really good way. Everything feels right, and it feels easy enough to pick up, but also like every time I'm learning, oh, I can do this too, and like
Yeah.
picking up a little more, and kind of getting that competitive edge.
You even have
Yeah, I
your
feel like
you even have your
once you
stick
can-
behind you.
Once you can squat up with your friends, it's gonna just make it that much better. Like
Yeah.
that's gonna be so fun.
Tim and I are going to use voice mods and helmets. And
Kevin wanted to get you. Do you have it? Did you buy the helmet?
no, I couldn't find it in stock.
Oh,
the one I
Kevin wanted to get an actual helmet to go over his head and then play that way.
Yeah.
Do you have
Alex
one?
has got the the Biggs helmet.
So Molly got me a Biggs helmet for my birthday like 3 or 4 years
Is
ago.
that the one that
and
actually has the padding in it and everything?
It does, but you can take it out. So
Oh,
like
cool.
I took it out and I was like, I wonder, and I got it over this headset. So I'm gonna do a full on just like dress up as a pilot and play, and that's why I'm normally very clean shaven. But I'm gonna shave all this off, just get the rebel
Excellent,
mustache
yes.
going.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
I'm just gonna go full in on this and maybe do something like Stone Mountain does, where
Yeah.
he's in character during
just-
PUBG. I might just fly around and like call everyone Vanguard 2. I don't
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I
That
love
is
it. I love it.
fantastic.
I love it. Yeah, I'm excited for Squadrons. Tim, we're gonna do multiplayer. Don't talk like
Yeah,
we're
no,
not gonna
we
do it.
are, but like for me, like I want to get more into the story. Like,
course.
this is like it's a really interesting point in the Star Wars timeline, and so I want to know more about it.
You were
Yeah, that like CG short that they released was
It was
very,
so good.
it's excellent.
very good.
It was well done. Honestly, I would love to watch more of those. Like if they just did like, episodic and they just released a couple of those, I'd be very, very happy.
Same.
But I'm a big Aftermath fan, so like for me, like this is a really, really cool point in like what the Empire's doing. So let's see.
Yeah. It's such a weird, like, weirdly, it's kind of been unexplored. With just this like right in the middle period, because Aftermath was like, I don't know, 3 months after, and I feel like there's still a lot more to learn for this story point, and getting to see like Ray Sloan and stuff. finally, like, in a not live action, but I don't know, on screen
Yeah,
representation.
she gets to come
like,
alive. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff
And
like that is
Hera.
really exciting. Hera, yeah.
Oh yeah, she
Alphabet
was in the
Squadron
trailer for
tie-ins.
like a split second, right? Hera. That was so cool.
Oh, I didn't know she was in the trailer. That's
There's like
cool.
a
I
split
totally missed
second
that
where
part.
you see her. She's in front of a screen, like pointing at something, and I was like, that was Hera. I remember screaming in chat. Before we jump into Mandalorian, because it's inevitable and chat will get riled up if we don't. High Republic, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? I'm excited to see a young Yoda. I read the first chapter of the first book. Aside from that, I'm excited to explore an entire new era and see things that we've never seen and maybe get more hints to Old Republic and things that came before.
Yep. That's
nailed
all
it. Okay.
I care about right now.
Just getting away from the Skywalker saga. And
Yeah.
at first, we were kind of like, we don't necessarily want to see Yoda, or hopefully, like, he doesn't take up too much of the High Republic stuff. Because, like, yes, we all know who Yoda is. Maybe we'll see him in his, like, bad boy stage of life.
Messing around on the dark
He's
side
still going to
and
be
stuff.
like 70.
Yeah. But I'm so excited for all the new characters, all the cool Jedi concept art, and like the different color lightsabers. I'm very excited.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Alex.
I was just going to agree with what you said, and what Molly said, getting away from the Skywalker saga, because I think that the more we stick in with that, the more likely it is that people are just never going to be happy. I think part of the reason The Mandalorian is working so well is that it's like, here's a bunch of new characters you've never met before, and we can do anything we want with them. And boy, isn't that fun.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm really excited to do that with some new characters, but also, in a new era that even Legends fans didn't really explore all that much. There's just going to be nothing for anyone to compare to. We're just going to be living in this new era, and it's like, well, in Legends they did this. It's like, nope, they didn't do that. They never touched it. So, and Yoda, I agree. I'm like, kind of don't want him to be in it a bunch. But I do think that there's some stuff to learn about who he was and about the Jedi, because I think what we're going to see is maybe this is the last days of the height of their power.
Yeah.
And we're going to see something change them so that they turn into what we know them in the prequels.
Yeah.
And I think Yoda might also change. So I think they're bringing him in for a reason and not just for like a, look, it's Yoda.
They could
Hopefully.
also establish a bunch of characters before Yoda's like fully brought into the fold, because there's
Right.
no like end date on this. We're exploring a whole new era. So, he might be in the stories, but until he plays a major role, it could be years.
Yeah, I said before we found out Yoda was going to be in it, I would say, like, if Yoda is in this, I think it would be cool to find out that he is, like, off on, like, a solo mission, like, trying to figure out more about the Sith. Because there's that line in The Phantom Menace. I forget what it is.
Just the fact that he knows always two there are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the rule of two was a brand new thing to the Sith, and they've been gone for 1,000 years. So how does Yoda know about that? So there's something he can do there.
Yeah, because the rule of two at that point, if you go by Legends, because obviously we can't go by canon, is Darth Bane, which is, I want to say 400. I'm so rusty on time. 400 years before-ish?
1,000.
1,000? So Darth Bane is the last known Sith?
Even then, and a lot of this is still true because they're coming from George Lucas's notes for
Right.
The Phantom Menace. Darth Bane is a canon character, creation of George Lucas. Darth Bane was like the sole survivor of some attack. That's all really George knew, and Bane was like, okay, we're going to just do me and an apprentice,
Right.
and that's it from now on. And so there shouldn't really be anyone that knows about the Sith in those thousands of years, and no one should know about the rule of two. So, I don't know. They might play with that and try to
That's
answer.
interesting.
I never picked
clarify.
up on that minor
Yeah,
detail.
that's cool.
See, I love this conversation.
So you had mentioned one thing earlier, and it's completely off topic, but you said maybe they'll be happy. Someone who's very deeply involved in the Star Wars community, Does it ever get on your nerves of how overly passionate some Star Wars fans can be and how they just never seem happy when it comes to Star Wars?
I mean,
you could be overly passionate and still just like try to be cool about not continuing to harp on the things that you hate.
Yeah.
That's like the one thing that bugs me the most. I'm like, if that's all you want to talk about, like, what's the point?
Yeah. I love how passionate people are about Star Wars. I think it's great, but at the same time, it's exhausting sometimes.
Oh, it's something I definitely like. I understand where you're coming from because we were already kind of taking small little jabs at it, and I don't mean that to be against anyone that liked The Rise of Skywalker a lot, but like we didn't really like The Rise of Skywalker, and so we did our review. We said like, it disappointed me, and that was it. Like, I just don't like the people who continue to yell about this one thing that they didn't like, and it's like, yeah, I get it. Sometimes the fact that we're getting so many Star Wars movies and stories now means some of them are going to disappoint you, but you're also going to get the ones that you loved, and like to me, the trade-off is worth it.
Fair.
My point to those people is, did you love every story in Legends too? They get really mad when I ask that question because I remember some ass shit stories from whichever canon layer of Legends you're picking to choose that week to tell me I'm wrong. There were some terrible stories. But then everyone always goes back to, what about the Yuzong Vong? Well, yeah, okay, cool. They're awesome, but we'll see what happens in the future. Calm down. I'm glad you asked that, Tim. That was a good question. We have some questions from chat, but we'll read those at the end because we have to talk about Mandalorian or everyone's going to pop off. I have the trailer here. I'm just going to skip through scenes. If you guys want to pull it up, you can. I can't pull it up on stream, but Tim and I have gone over it ad nauseum with chat. I'm sure you guys have with your communities as well. But I just wanted to ask a few key questions along the way. I watched your video, so some of the questions might be redundant to your video. Either way, I want to talk about it with chat. First things first, obviously, we hear the armorer talking over the beginning of the video, repeating what she said in season 1 when Mando brought her the child and they were heading out to take him elsewhere. Now, we were joking before that I was going to grandstand on Tim and be like, oh, see, they're pointing towards the fact that she is bringing the Jedi, which was Tim and I's argument last week versus the child's race. Alex chimed in on Tim's behalf and said, well... Without me saying a word, without Tim saying a word, give us your 2 cents on that.
It's mostly more what I hope happens, what I hope is the truth. From season 1, what she is talking about, I don't see her specifically saying, you have to find the Jedi and give him to them. Like, I think they're kind of under the assumption, and we might as well be as well, that all of Baby Yoda's species can use the Force. And so he's referring to them all as like, okay, they're enemy sorcerers. To me, it's all very vague. I think that that's a better setup for this kind of mystery, this quest, because it's something that we as the audience don't know about. We get to go on this journey with the Mandalorian, and we get to follow these clues, and we get to, maybe at the end of the series, he returns Baby Yoda, and we see their home planet. Like, I don't want to learn too much about them.
Yeah.
But I think that for the audience to be engaged, that's a better idea. To be like, oh, like, where is their home world? Who are they?
Right.
We don't know. I totally agree that the trailer leans more into the find the Jedi. So if that's the route they're going, then fine. And it still makes sense. But even then, it's like, okay, well, if you're trying to find the Yoda homeworld, maybe a good place to start is with the Jedi. So it could be that he's doing both in season 2.
You said something there, too, which is interesting. You said, to them, it's a mystery. It could be one in the same. It could be 2 in the other. If the Emperor has done such a good job of erasing what the Jedi were from the knowledge of the galaxy, and the only history the Mandalorians have is the legend of Mandalore the Great fighting against these sorcerers, then they could be one in the same in his mind. Like, there was no differentiation between one or the other. Like, we have the knowledge. He doesn't. So, Tim, we could both be right.
All right.
Or we could both be wrong. Would you prefer that?
I just think him going to a Jedi of some sort, especially after it's been like the Skywalker saga is done. It's like it would be too easy for him just to go find Luke. You know, it's like, or I mean, like, and we're still very unsure about Ahsoka showing up. So right now, it just makes sense for him to go out and explore, and to find his homeworld. So,
not to mention,
that's how I feel.
I think it makes things way too messy. And also, if he's gonna hand Baby Yoda off to Luke, and Luke's like, "Great, I'm about to go start a new academy with my nephew Ben," like, no one wants that.
This is not a happy ending.
I would be screaming at my TV, "Run, Baby Yoda, run!"
Well, we also talked about the possibility that he's the last of his species, and
Yeah.
they all got wiped out somehow. Because, like, I don't like the idea of us like seeing all these Yodas, for lack of a better term. It would be very like ET to me. And then
I do agree with
just
you on
like,
that.
here you go, here's your baby at the end.
I think it's a better setup. I think it's a better setup for a story, but then it would be very strange if at the end it's like, look at all these Yodas. Like, all right.
Now what?
Yodas and Yaddles.
Yes, excuse me.
That's how you get a child. is a
I want a
Yoda
good
and Yaddle.
excuse to go into the chaos more, like especially now. Like I've been reading, you know, Thrawn, and now with Ascendancy, like I'm in that part of the universe now, and I'm just like really loving that because it's so mysterious.
I love the name The Chaos.
Yeah,
it's so
it's so
much
cool.
easier to say than the Unknown Regions.
I still say unknown regions because my brain won't let me change it, but we all agree. So there was a couple planets featured in the trailer too, and of course I want to wildly speculate, as we do as Star Wars fans. I think we can all agree that Tatooine is 100% in the trailer, no questions
I
asked.
hate that so hard though.
Me and
So
Tim are like
hard.
on the same
Dude,
wavelength.
I saw Tatooine and I was like, fuck, again?
Again? Really?
I was like, and I was hopeful. I was like, oh, maybe sand people are just out there, you know, just like the Jawas just showed up in other places, you know, maybe. And then no, like Tusken Raiders, I feel like that's like people know Tusken Raiders to be with Tatooine, and then like the one speeder bike scene, I'm like, no, that's definitely Tatooine. Like, here we go again.
Tusken Raiders.
You made a really good point about the character from Aftermath like showing up in season 2. I forget his name.
Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, Cobb Vanth, like him showing up. That would be very interesting because that's when like everyone's like, oh, like, we saw, you know, like how does Boba Fett's alive, right? Like, no, there's no way. He's dead. He's very dead, and Cobb Vanth has his armor. Like, come on. So, but
Yeah,
but then to my point, Kevin gave me a link that the actor who plays Django is going to be in season 2. Apparently, his agency confirmed it.
Apparently.
So
Rumors, you know.
But he could also be a clone.
Yeah, that
He could
too.
be Rex.
They apparently
Which
they
I'm
listed
so
him.
hopeful for.
Yeah, apparently they listed him as Boba Fett
Yeah.
on the resume, but you know, whatever. And like,
Yeah.
the Boba Fett thing doesn't bug me just because I'm used to it from Legends. Like
Sure.
it's just in my head that yeah, Boba Fett's still alive. He's out there somewhere. But I do think it would be a fun twist to be like, if he's going to meet up with Boba Fett and then this guy takes his helmet off and is like, nope, I just have the armor.
Could it be a
I feel
flashback?
like of Boba Fett? Maybe. I
That's
feel
what
like
I was.
the Gunslinger episode, the end of that episode was like
Yeah,
what?
we didn't get resolution.
We have no
That was
idea.
such a cliffhanger. So I was like, they're definitely going to go back to Tatooine to hopefully give us more of who that person was.
Well, I
somebody
like
with
the idea that
spurs
that
on.
was Cobb Vanth maybe saving Finnick. Find this woman who needs help because that's the kind of person he is in Aftermath. So I think that makes sense.
Cool. So Tatooine's in it. We established that. We're all in agreement. Before we go on to the city at night that it looks like he lands on, which I also think is the watership planet, let's talk about Ice Snow Planet.
It's got to be Ilum, dude.
Everyone wants to say
It's
it's
gotta
Ilum.
be
There's a
Ilum.
few,
Everyone wants it to be Ilum.
but Alex, tell
including
us
me.
why it's not Ilum.
Oh, I want it to be Ilum.
But tell us why it could not be Ilum. I heard you say something about it recently being possibly not because
If he hears about Luke and what Luke has done, it could be Hoth. Or it could be a new planet. Those are our options.
I think it's
gonna
most
be
likely a
Hoth.
new planet. It's most likely a new planet. But the Ilum thing, I don't know, with the caves, it just looks very Ilum-like when you compare it to Fallen Order and the Clone
Yeah.
Wars. But it does kind of make the timeline a little weird because we know from Fallen Order they had already started construction on Starkiller Base. They confirmed Starkiller Base and Ilum are the same planet. So is he going to show up and like run into a bunch of? They're probably not First Order people yet, but like
didn't we get
Imperials or?
Didn't we get confirmation of some sort that like we might see the beginnings of the First Order?
Jon Favreau said they would explore the origins or something. It was very vague, like they all speak. But when I first heard that, my assumption was that we would kind of talk about the New Republic a little more and kind of see why the First Order was able to rise back to power at all. But we could literally see it. We could see them on Ilum if that's Ilum.
Yeah, I just like Dave Filoni is notorious now for like putting things from Clone Wars and things in Rebels in Mandalorian. So like that's why I feel like that the Ilum setting would make sense, since Ilum was like 3 episodes of Rebels. So or Clone Wars. Sorry, it was like 3 episodes of Clone Wars. Like they just focused on like the Padawans getting their kyber crystals. So I feel like that it would be easy for him to pull that one off. But I just like, I think to your point too, also when it comes to the First Order, like we need kind of closure on like how it all happened. Like there's still so much mystery as to like what really happened within those 20 years.
Yeah. I'm of the opinion like let's leave that alone.
I just want it to die. You're just over it.
I don't want it to die. I just more want the Mandalorian to keep being its own thing. Every time we hear more, Ahsoka's going to be in it. Rex is going to be in it. Boba Fett, like Bo-Katan. So I do want Bo-Katan in it, but yeah, I don't want a constant like this. I liked it so much because it was its own thing.
It was so
and
far
now
away,
they're like, no, we're going to pull you back into the main story. And I'm like, let it.
We said we were done with Skywalker, but here we are.
The reason I think it's Ilum is because I don't think those are natural caverns. They look just like the way that the base on Hoth was made with the sidewalls. And that's why I think it is actually Ilum at the beginning of Starkiller. Now, and chat said this too, are they just going to go to a planet with a bunch of Imperials? If he got intel that this was where the Jedi went, it was a holy place, some sort, it would make sense for him to go to Ilum, because I doubt everyone knows that the Empire is building another super weapon on Ice Planet. They're not really going to make it public knowledge, especially with the position they're in. So that would be why I would lean towards Ilum. You know, you could take the Ahsoka theory that Ahsoka tells him it's Ilum. I'm not 100% on board with that either, so I'm take that one with a grain of salt.
That's another thing where I'm like, okay, yeah, how does he find Ilum? Right. Ahsoka could tell him, but Ahsoka also knows the Empire's there, or she knew it from the book. So like,
yes,
why would she be like, yeah, go there, it's fine?
Maybe she doesn't like him. Who knows?
Maybe Baby Yoda gets his own little kyber crystal.
Oh my gosh, with a little mini lightsaber. Oh my heart! I could give that to my youngest daughter. She would
waving it around.
Do you want to build a little lightsaber?
That's the one thing that I could see them finding Ilum, is if Baby Yoda somehow takes them there through the Force.
Yeah, it's Force just in there.
Interesting. I'm inclined to believe that this planet that he's walking through at night, where it looks like he landed, and then we kind of see the graffiti on the walls, is the same planet where we see all the Quarren and the Mon Cala on, only because all of the lamps look exactly the same at night as they do during the day. That was one thing that we picked out with chat. So I really feel like it's the same planet. I could be 100% wrong. You guys can chime in as well. And then I'll give you the theory. But this planet could be Mon Cala because it has the Quarren and it has the Mon Calamari. So it's like we know from Clone Wars that they were at war with each other, but this is many years later. So obviously the conflict may have died down. Like, there's a million questions, but it just seems like an interesting thing that Jon Favreau would take us to another planet that we know. We'll talk about the hooded figure. Don't worry. We're still on planets. What do you guys think?
My first thought was, is this Camino? Like, because the guy with the cloning thing in season 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I thought of Camino, but I was like, then there's all the Mon Cala and the Quarren there. I don't know. Like, maybe it's just not as stormy there anymore. Maybe all the cloning stuff is all underwater now. But that's what popped in my head first.
Except for Tatooine, I think the safe bet for most of these is new planet. Even Ilum. Like, I'm mostly with Ilum trying not to get my hopes up.
Yeah.
I think that this is probably a new planet. I would guess that the graffiti planet is a new planet. I didn't pick out the detail with the lights, so that's interesting. But if we're gonna follow the same model as we did with season 1, I kind of think we're gonna go like one planet at a time. Just here's adventure of the week. So I kind of figure the graffiti planet will be its own thing. The water planet will be its own thing.
Well, you
But
had,
I think
you
it's
had
probably
pointed
new.
out in your video that you said that it could be the smuggler's moon, which I thought was really interesting.
That's
And I
another
think
thing
that-
where I'm like, I'd love for it to be. I
Yeah.
doubt it.
That would be cool. Like that would be a really interesting planet to visit, because it's not like that's just not talked about.
Yeah, it
Especially
fits
with, like-
so well with the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I think there's Gamorrean fight pits on Nar Shaddaa. That makes sense to me.
So okay. See, but Nar Shaddaa to me would be more Vegas-esque. Like, what was the planet in episode 8? I never remember the name of it.
Cantobite.
Thank you.
Or Cantonica. Sorry, that's
There
the
you
name.
go.
It would look more like that, but like Coruscant-sized, city-sized, because that's what I mean, again, have we seen Nar Shaddaa outside of video games at this point?
It was
And
in
even
a
that's
comic.
not canon.
Couple comics.
Couple comics? Okay.
Mhm.
So that would be my vision of Nar Shaddaa, but again, this show is not my vision.
Maybe he goes to like the Baltimore part of
The Baltimore,
Or you have to lock your cruisers when you drive them through.
yeah.
the Baltimore part of Nar Shaddaa. Oh, I'm going to use that joke again later in the future. I'll give you credit, Molly. Don't worry.
Okay.
This other
Someone in the
planet,
chat named Baltimore Brooks said, "Hey,
sorry, you know it's true. This planet at the end, that's like kind of gray and volcanic and rock-like. I'm going to assume that's still Navarro. It just feels and looks exactly like where we were last season. I think that's a safe bet as well. Man, that cave at the end just screams Ilum to me. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it right now, and it's just like between the games I've played, and I kind of hope it's Ilum. Let's talk about characters. So we got introduced to a few new characters. You want to do hooded figure first and get all those rumors out of the way?
Please. Let's get that one out of
Okay,
the way, because I'm
let me
tired
start
of the
with this.
speculations on this one.
It's not Ahsoka. There is not a chance in hell that is Ahsoka.
There, I did it. Thank you.
The amount of people that said it's Ahsoka confirmed. I went and looked at the screenshot. I'm like, are you it's just stupid. There's no way. Look at this. And they're like, it's a hologram. She's using a device to cover herself. Stop it.
what?"
Yeah. The amount of speculating that went on my chat the day after was insane. People like,
Oh, man.
she's just using a disguise. I'm like,
Glad I
stop.
didn't look at all that.
Just stop.
Who is it?
I
Molly?
mean, we're pretty sure that's Sasha Banks, right?
Yeah, that
We're
is-
like, yeah.
That's got to be her.
I
Yeah.
think it's safe to say that.
99.9%. Yeah.
I don't know who she is, but I feel
yeah,
like
I think
maybe
I think that's the answer.
yeah.
new
I feel
character.
like
I don't think anybody knows.
she could be a Mandalorian that just isn't in armor. I think she might be a link to Bo-Katan somehow. Or some people said that she might be a Night Sister. Like, let's just go wild.
So I thought it was just gonna be an Inquisitor of some sort. Like usually, like whenever you see Star Wars characters in a black hooded robe, it's usually a dark Force user of some sort. So like for me, like I thought it'd be like an old remaining Inquisitor that, or someone who had been taught by someone who was no longer, Inquisitor, or was training people up, something along those lines. I feel like she's just too evil looking. She has a very ominous presence to her.
See, that's I'd take it the other direction. I get a very Strider from Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
sense.
Okay.
That it's like he's hooded and in the shadows, and he's sitting in the dark corner watching the hobbits, and they're like, "Who's this guy staring at us?" Like, I think that it's going to be a similar thing. I think she'll be an ally in the end, but they're definitely going with, "Oh, she's watching them and she's bad news."
Yeah.
So it could be either way.
I have to throw this out there. Is it Sabine?
Oh god.
Nah.
Damn it.
No.
No.
There you go. Hard nose.
No.
All around the board. I don't
No
hate the
way.
idea of it being Sabine, but I think more along like what you're saying, Alex, like new characters, please.
Yeah,
like we don't need to revisit. It'd be cool to see live action Sabine, and I mean, skin tone, everything is pretty on point for it to be, but that could also be another debate by Jon Favreau to be like, will you fold for this?
Nah, she's out in the chaos right now looking for Ezra, and that's where she is in my mind. She's out there somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on board with this is going to be an ally, but maybe not at first, like a fight with Mando and, you know, our interests are aligned situation. So no, it's not Mara Jade, chat.
Oh.
This is what we deal with.
Well, if it were as Tim was suggesting, sort of like an Inquisitor type character, there's room for. I mean, they could like not even name her in the show, and then when the reference book comes out next year, they'll be like, "Yeah, it's Mara Jade." Like, why not?
People would
I don't
be
think they
so
will.
mad.
I know. I don't think they
will.
Do you subscribe to the theory that the Order of Inquisitors was damaged by what happens in Jedi Fallen Order, and they never fully rebuilt over the course of time, which is why they're not in Episode 4 and after for the most part?
I think Dave Filoni said after Rebels, especially season 2, I think the final 3 Inquisitors were in the season finale for season 2, and they all died.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think they're done.
Okay.
And so like the destruction of their base was like the cherry on top.
But I mean, there's always room. Just because Dave Filoni said something
yeah.
in an interview doesn't mean they can't change their minds.
Well, you also said Inquisitor-like character. It could just be a Dark Force user that figures something out. I don't like the Night Sister one either because our friend, I forget her name in Jedi Fallen Order, doesn't she say she's the last one?
She's not, but
oh, what? Tell me.
Comics.
Tim,
comics,
we gotta catch
mobile
up
games.
on the comics, damn it.
I actually have a video coming out soon about all the surviving Night Sisters.
Oh, cool.
I think there's like 5.
I'm the same way. I'll be like, oh, this is definitely a thing. And Alex is like, actually, in this comic.
See, I
I'm
need
like,
that in my life,
That's the
though.
one thing that I have slipped on is comics.
Yeah, same.
So like I'll see the Vader comic snippets, like they'll showcase the highlights of the Vader comic. I'm like, oh, cool, because I can follow along that way. I'm not like I don't have the time to sit down and read a comic. So if you could suggest comics to go and read, because like now Kevin and I've been talking over the past like month or so, like which comics should we go check out?
The Vader comic that you just mentioned,
Vader
the Charles Soule
Vader,
Vader comic. Honestly, just pick up anything that Charles Soule has done.
Okay.
He's amazing.
Where were we in the trailer? Oh, the X-Wings. Is that an escort or is that a chase?
I don't know. I get escort vibes from them, but I don't know.
I want it to be an escort.
I do kind
I
of
thought he
like.
was getting tailed. I thought he was in trouble.
I kind of like the idea that the New Republic is presented as kind of bad guys at some points, where maybe they've also heard about the child and they're like, maybe we want them. Maybe, and I'm sure they would have better reasons in the Empire, but no one wants anyone to take the baby away from the Mandalorian, so he's going to run from him. I kind of like that idea too, but I'm hopeful that they're not at odds.
I got a kind of stand down. Okay, I'm going to pretend to stand down, and then turns into a fight, and then the ship that we see at the beginning of the trailer, that's the result of that, because it's completely damaged, and he looks like he's trying to find a place to land and fix everything.
Yeah, he gets his ass kicked hard at some point because the Razor Crest looks like crap.
Not the first time.
That's something I really like about this show, is that he is constantly getting beat up. Like I remember just laughing when he was fighting those Jawas in the second episode, and they're like hitting him with trash, and I was like, this is very funny. Like, it's just not the vibe I thought they were going to give off with this show, but I really like it.
Well, it's not very Star Wars-esque to see your protagonist to be just absolutely just thrown through the mud. Like, he literally gets stomped on by a mudhorn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, this guy has literally gone through mud, and I like that about it. It really shows the human side to his character.
Mm-hmm.
Last character besides the actually there's one more after this. Our crime lord-esque buddy at the end watching the Gamorrean fight pit, I can't find his name for the life of me. I know he did get a name. Is he our first live on-screen Abyssin that we're going to see in Star Wars universe?
Since the Cantina.
Is there an Abyssin in the Cantina scene? God,
Yeah.
I gotta hang out with Alex and get some drinks off
Is
screen.
that a special edition thing, or was that in it? from-
Nah, I'm pretty sure that
I'm
was always in
Googling.
it.
Hold on. Abyssin Cantina scene.
I remember the one that you're talking
Oh
about.
no, he's definitely in.
Oh
in
yeah,
a
he
Cantina.
is.
In
Oh my
episode
God,
4,
that
Kevin,
is.
of
Yeah,
course.
100%. Now I recognize him. I'm used to the ones from SWTOR and Korriban, the weird one that hides in, I forget which temple it is. And I was like, oh man, I hope they make these real. So is this, case in point, is this guy an Abyssin?
I would assume so. I do think he looks a little different, but I don't know that they would create another one-eyed,
Green.
close-looking creature. Yeah.
Essentially, then, this would be the first one we're interacting with, because that guy is just hanging out in the cantina and getting wasted with all the other aliens.
Sure.
I forget his name, Chad. I can't find it for the life of me.
Looking.
I guess my question then, what do you make of that scene at the end there? Assuming it's some situation of crime boss, is that one of the syndicates that we know and are familiar with, and this guy's in charge, and Mando's trying to make a deal for something or other, or perhaps something with a bounty? What's your take on that?
I think Molly changed my mind on some of it. Like, I tend to just... I think a problem I have is I take whatever's shown to me at very face value. And so I saw that dude, I think, is the one that's strung up on the light at one point in the trailer.
Yeah, because his clothes look a little similar.
So I saw that, and then I was like, oh, maybe this guy, like, gets helped by the Mandalorian, and, like, it's all a setup, and he lures him to his, like, little fighting ring or whatever.
Yeah.
And Molly was like, or the trailer's out of order. And I was like, oh, yeah, that is
That's
an
true.
option.
Oh, yeah. That's the likely answer.
They're sneaky with those trailers.
Uh-huh. So, like, maybe he meets up with this old contact at the Gamorrean ring, and it's all set up, and the Mando kills everyone there. And then maybe he's interrogating that dude after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, if you guys have a few more minutes, I do want to take some questions. You got time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll do that. End all be all, what are you both looking for out of season 2 of The Mandalorian? What are you expecting? What are you hoping for? Molly, you can go first.
I mean, I'm obsessed with Baby Yoda.
That's true.
Join the club.
Yeah, that's someone on one of our streams asked if we would see him use a new force power, and I was like, ooh, that's something I potentially would like to see. So I'll go with that. Maybe Baby Yoda does something completely new.
Would we get a light and a
Force-related.
dark one again, just like we got in season 1?
Maybe.
Come on, Force Lightning. Come
Like
on,
oh,
Force
God,
Lightning.
Tim would shit his pants if Baby Yoda pulled out some Force lightning.
Well, I think what I want is very in line with what you were just talking about, is something I was not expecting from this show. Well, I was like, when they showed the trailer, I was like, if this is going to be another one of those stories where, like, the hardened criminal has to, like, protect a child and it teaches him to love, it's going to be dumb. And then we saw Baby Yoda, and I was like, forget everything I said. I'm dumb. I'm the dumb one. But I really like and was surprised at what they're exploring, that the baby is like witness to all of this violence, and that his surrogate father is a very violent person, and that, yeah, it's affecting him. Like, his impulse is to heal the Mandalorian in episode 2, and then it's to choke Cara Dune later. Like, and it does. It focuses on the baby's face a lot when the Mandalorian is disintegrating Jawas or flamethrowing stormtroopers. So I want to keep exploring that, and I just don't want it to lose that kind of, like, Star Wars-y. Yeah, it's a great, fun show, but it also is kind of teaching you lessons about the light and the dark, even if the main character can't use the Force.
Along those lines, too, maybe Mando taught Baby Yoda to close his little thing that he rides
when
in.
bad things happen.
Because he does that right before Mando shoots his little things off of his whatever that is.
That's something our I was listening to our friends at the Force Center podcast talk about where like, yeah, the baby knows his father's weapons. Like he knows when shit's about to go down and he's just going to hide and like listen to all these people dying.
But
Like,
maybe Mando taught him to shut the thing. Like
Don't
when
look.
he's about to attack.
Look
something.
away, little one. Just look away.
Yeah.
and they
It's like-
also, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like earmuffs.
Yeah.
Right. In that same podcast, they talk about how like the final line of the trailer, like this is the way. It's like very aggressive and angry, and it's like it's a cool thing that we all love to say now, but all this killing,
Yeah.
it's like
that's the
it might
Mandalorian
not
way.
be the way for your son.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you
Do
guys
as I say, not as I do.
do you guys feel like Din is going to play a role in reuniting Mandalore, or you just feel like he's just a regular dude and they're going to remain nomadic tribes?
With the Darksaber in play,
That's my kicker.
Yeah.
They,
I don't see him becoming a huge leader. I don't know.
but a part
Yeah,
of some sort of unification, especially if we think that Bo-Katan is going to get involved in all of this.
that's my hope. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think as a foundling, he doesn't have like it's not his place.
I like that his story is more just about what it means to be a Mandalorian, and that he's all focused on the rules and the armor and this and that. And it's like Bo-Katan can show up and immediately pull her helmet off because she
Right.
did it all the time in the Clone Wars and be like, "What are you doing, man? Like, just come on,
Your
let's
helmet
come
off,
help
dummy."
me unite Mandalore." Like,
Cool. Let's jump to some questions. There's one really good question in here that I want to ask you. Dave asked, when Obi-Wan was having a duel with Count Dooku, the evil Sith Lord stated Qui-Gon and he were working together. Do you think Qui-Gon was a Sith? Your thoughts?
no,
That was a quick one.
not at all.
I love that. No.
He's like us, Tim, when we get those questions.
Yeah.
No,
just shut up.
stop.
Nah.
Stop.
I think he. What am I looking for? I think he disagreed with the Jedi Council in a lot of the Jedi
Yes.
ways. I think he knew that the Jedi had lost their way. I think he was also part of that to a degree. He just saw it more. But one of my favorite lines in a Star Wars story is from Claudia Gray's Master and Apprentice, where he talks about the fact that he doesn't serve the light. Like, basically, there's a kind of Count Dooku-esque character who's like, I don't think the light's going to win and we should serve the dark side. He's like, I don't serve the light side because I want to win some cosmic game. I serve the light side because it's the light side and it's the right thing to do. So I don't see Qui-Gon ever joining the Sith.
You get that, Tim? It's the right
What?
thing to do, Tim.
Whatever, Kevin, the
You
Jedi are
old
evil.
Sith shitlord.
Jedi are evil, Kevin.
I think I'm gonna commission one of our artists, Tim, to do blue lightsaber with me and red with you and us cross, because it just makes sense at this point
Yeah.
as the logo over 2 glasses of scotch.
Yes.
And then you can have a gun under the table. I'm sorry, a blaster. Sven asked, where do you think they will take the Cassian Andor series? It seems like they're going to have to fill some big shoes to match the excellence of Mandalorian.
I hope we get to see when Cassian first meets K2 and meets him. I guess he would be the one to reprogram him, maybe.
See, that's an interesting thing, because they did a one-shot comic where he meets him, and I didn't think it was very good. And I'm
So
like,
They might
maybe
say,
they-
do-over.
right. But then that sets a weird precedent for canon, and I would be fine with it because the comic wasn't all that awesome. So if they were just like, hey, we want to do it in a show now because we didn't know we were doing a show when we wrote this comic, I think that's fine. But I know that people are going to flip out over it.
Do you think his story is compelling enough to have his own show?
I think his line...
I do.
Yeah.
I think the idea of him being rebel intelligence and him talking about all the shady stuff that he's done, I want to see all that shady stuff.
So do you think he could be like a Star Wars James Bond almost, or
Like Mission Impossible.
like Mission Impossible style?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the emotional core of the show is going to be what Molly just said.
Yeah.
In Rogue One, he's like, all of us, like me and this other group of people, we've all done terrible things for the rebellion, and we can't just let it fall apart now. So we're all going to go with you. So this all matters. So I think we can see what kind of stuff he did, and we'll see. I think it has a chance to be like that darker, grittier story a lot of Star Wars fans want, but it would also mean something and not be dark and gritty for the sake of it.
Yeah. I like
I
dark
also
and gritty Star Wars.
said
Oh
that
yeah,
it would
we
be
all do.
cool if we saw the Cloud Rider gang, like
Yes.
Enfys Nest's mother,
Yes,
maybe.
that'd be very cool.
That's also true. Like, there's a ton of room for connections in that era, even with stuff like Solo.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
I think Lando is going to be like, if that series ever sees the light of day, that'll be like the fun one that we get to enjoy, like the smuggler life, but it's like very light and like ha 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 and all that silly shit that Lando loves to do. But I think it'd be in good taste because it would just work for the character.
Yeah.
Artie said earlier there was talk about squadrons. What is your favorite ship in all of Star Wars? I love the Clone Wars era, so it's the Venator and the Arc 170 are mine for sure.
I was gonna let Molly go first because I say the same thing every damn time.
I mean, yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite other than the X-wing.
That's mine.
It's boring, but
Nothing wrong with that.
It's so cool.
I have
Yeah.
a least favorite.
Go
ahead.
for it.
I think the Slave One is ridiculous.
It's pretty.
I'm just gonna say it.
It's
I
pretty
know a lot of
silly
people.
looking.
I know a lot of people love it, but it looks so dumb taking off, and it's just like a giant target.
It's so easy to shoot.
I always see it flying, and it like you said when it takes off, I'm always like, but how? It's the way it just doesn't make sense. Oh, whatever.
It's gotta be awkward as hell trying to get in that cockpit too, because you have to lay on your back, and it's like getting in a spaceship right now.
Think of what
Yeah.
the
I
G-force
still
would do
love
too, as you like flipped up through the atmosphere to I don't know, it'd just be weird.
Yeah.
Well, the Lego has like a little spinny thing for the cockpit, so it probably just spins around and compensates for any of that.
that's
It's perfect.
interesting.
It's perfect the way it is.
We'll go with that. That's fine. That can be the canon answer. Steven asked what everyone's drinking tonight. I polished off double shot of Macallan 12. What everyone else drink?
That's what I was drinking.
We're both having pumpkin dogfish. Pumpkin ale.
Focus.
Oh, how is that?
It's tasty.
I've been
not-
trying to hold off my pumpkin beer until October, so it's sitting in my fridge. I'm just like, ugh.
I have
This
one.
one's it's not super pumpkin-y. It's more just like
So it's seasonal.
spicy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fall flavor.
I have one, Tim, that you should try, and you guys should try too. It's the Southern Tier's Pumpkin. If you've never had it,
Yes, no, I have a lot of pumpkin in
Yep.
my fridge, Kevin.
So
I'm just
good.
Trying to go easy on it.
that's the
That
one.
one has like a very strong pumpkin taste.
That's the
Oh,
one.
yes.
My wife gets cinnamon sugar and does cinnamon sugar rims on frosted
so
glasses.
Ooh.
She goes to town. It's a big deal in this house. That's about as
This is
fall as we
also
get.
not, they also have pumpkin nitro, Kevin.
Oh, Pete showed me that yesterday.
It focuses. Anyways, yeah,
You're gonna have to bring one of those over.
it's very good. Yeah.
Try that. All right, here's the question, Alex. Theories on how the Moff ended up with the sacred Mandalorian relic. It's not called the white lightsaber, Dave. It's called the dark saber. Come on. The white lightsaber.
Can we just throw that question out now?
Can we add the element of the and I know you've talked about this, but the Inquisitor element into the answer for this? Tim's ears just perked up.
I don't think Moff Gideon is an Inquisitor. They said he was part of Imperial Security Bureau. I just think he must have had something to do with the Great Purge. Took it. Maybe we'll see it in a flashback. I don't know. I have
think-
no idea.
If Bo-Katan is in it, we'll probably learn what happened through her. But I forgot that we talked about this before, how it would be cool if we saw Moff Gideon in Squadrons. And like what he's up to.
Yeah, because he wouldn't have
Oh.
necessarily left the Empire yet. It could be a little tease for like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
play Squadrons, you learn a little more about Gideon.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. I like that.
I like that a lot too.
Tim, this one's for you, bud.
Oh crap.
Yes
it a Jar
wants to
Jar
know,
question?
is the hooded character in The Mandalorian Gerald or Jar Jar Binks?
Misa don't think so.
Someone sent me a picture of a Jar Jar they found at a flea market. I was like, could you mail that to Tim for me? I'll give you his address. Thanks.
Character. What a clown. What a clown. And he'll die on Naboo as a clown.
Oh.
He's a sad clown.
He's a very sad clown.
Clown
Chad,
with PTSD.
Chad with the wild theory. I think the Razor Crest is floating out into space damaged in the beginning of the trailer. There's no one inside. The Lego version actually has a hidden escape pod feature. And there's no question mark at the end of this. It's a period and then it says FYI. So this is a statement. This is not even asking us anything. This is Chad
in the middle of building that. So have we gotten that far?
No, I haven't seen any secret escape pod. It must be in bags 5 or 6. But that's interesting.
Huh.
Well, let us know once you're done building. I'm very interested to hear your take on the secret escape pod. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. We hope we get to hang out with you guys again. This has been a blast. But what are you working on? Give all the people all the stuff of where they can find you. Twitch, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. Go nuts.
Molly, you go first. I always go first.
I'm on Twitter at Mollie Damon and also on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mollie Damon. And I will be streaming Squadrons whenever that comes out, but you're better off watching Alex play it than me.
I'm sure we'll stream it together.
Yeah. But until then, Fall Guys. Once I get my new PC built, I'm going to be doing the Sims Batu expansion.
We are both at our YouTube channel, Star Wars Explained. We do videos covering all the new Star Wars content as it comes out, books, comics, TV shows, movies, video games. We also do live streams of video games. We live stream us building Legos, like we just said. I'm on Twitch at Alex Damon Live. I will also be playing so much Star Wars Squadrons. I'll be doing that on YouTube and Twitch. And on October 10th, me and a couple other YouTubers are going to be part of Operation Ace, which is the first competitive Squadrons thing. We got in early before it's like based on skill. It's just like we can all just play and have fun and we'll see who wins. But yeah, Operation Ace is on October 10th, and I think we're all going to be streaming that on our various platforms.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us again. We had a blast. But you can find that guy next to me at fb.gg/darkness429. He's darkness429 everywhere. He's verified on Twitter now, Chad. He's a big deal. And
that
you can
blue
find
check mark.
Yeah.
He's fancy.
Feels good.
You can check me out on Twitch, KMagic101. I'm Kevin Exposition on Twitter, KMagic101 everywhere else. And we are RareDrop. Go to raredrop.co. Go to the store. You can check out all the content. You can go back and listen to old episodes of this where Tim and I make wild accusations about various things, some of which come to fruition and some don't. But either way, Tim, you guys tell me the thing so I can do the thing.
Kevin, punch into hyperspace.
We outie. Thank you so much again. We appreciate you. We'll be back next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here, twitch.tv/raredrop and fb.gg/raredropco. Again, we appreciate you. Thank you. And as always, chat, may the force be with you.